Hello, ODAC fans, and welcome to our latest edition of ODAC Preseason Features. I have with us here the Averett University wrestling head coach, Blake Roulo. Blake, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Men's wrestling new to the ODAC this year. First time since the old days of the conference. The first 4 years it was a feature in the league as late as 1980. So 43 years since anybody stepped on the mat, at least under the ODAC banner. Coach, talk a little bit about the excitement just of that coming into the league, bringing these 7 teams together, and what we expect to see out there.
I think it's awesome for the state of Virginia wrestling. It gives the fans something easy to follow, similar to the ACC in Division I. And there's a lot of tough teams. And, we got one team outside of the state of Virginia in Greensboro College, but it's like, Washington and Lee is a top 25. Roanoke is very well on their way to being top 25. Ferrum is a historic program. You got SVU, who just had All-American. And then Shenandoah, who's made some really nice pickups. It's going to be a solid conference for many years to come, and I'm just very privileged that Averett decided to make the move to the ODAC.
Well, lots of good things happening here in the ODAC. Ferrum gets to be the host, or is the host, of the national championship this year. How important is that to bring everybody here to the Roanoke Valley to see that out of the Birkeland Center for the second time, I think, in the last 4 or 5 years?
Well, I think it's great because it helps our Virginia people get in there and support. It's going to showcase all the top Virginia guys, whether it's in the state or top Virginia programs, competing at the national tournament. And, so many guys get hung up on Division I that Division III is pretty exciting. And I would argue, outside of Division I, it's the most exciting national tournament there is, because there's so many upsets. Anybody can beat anyone in any round. And it does a lot for the sport of wrestling. It grows the ODAC in particular. And I think it helps put pressure on possibly other ODAC schools in adding.
Well, give you a chance to talk a little bit about your guys here, because we expect to see not just maybe some wrestlers from your squad, but from throughout the ODAC qualify for those nationals come the first couple weeks in March later this spring. But we had several last season. A couple of them were on your squad. You have some of those guys back. Talk a little bit about your team coming into this year and why the coaches picked you number 1 in the preseason poll.
Well, we got a solid program. I want to say the most matches we lost in a duel last year in play was 2 matches. So it's like we're returning everyone, but 4 guys. But the thing is, we replaced Woody's points. Woody and Braswell were both All-Americans for us last year. And the thing is, we replaced Woody with a 3-time conference champ and a round of 12 finisher at the NCAA tournament from Greensboro College in High Sioux. And Hunter Campbell is older. He's a returned NCAA qualifier. And I'll tell you what, Mason Barrett and Cole McCormick are 2 3-time state champions fighting it out for 125. That's a barn burner in our room right now. But overall, we returned, I want to say we returned around 5 regional placers and 10 conference placers in the coaches conference that we had set up for last year. But overall, we got the schedule for it. We got the partners for it. And, this team's ready to thrive in chaos. That's been our mantra all year. And we're just excited to get after it.
Well, and I think your guys are going to be battle tested when they come out of the ODAC as well, because you've got, you won the Southeast Wrestling Conference Championships last year. Washington and Lee won the 2020 and 2022 Centennial Championships. They've got a couple of national qualifiers back. Roanoke, in just his first season, had a national qualifier. So I think the guys are going to have some things to be battle tested about. We've got new fans here in the ODAC, though. They're going to be coming into this. Obviously, you're going to bring fans, with you from the past that you have. But from a conference perspective, we got some new programs and some new fans coming in. Where are some great places that the fans should go ahead and look at here to kind of track on some of this stuff, to look at statistics, to find the features, that sort of thing as we get into the wrestling season here?
As far as you mean rankings and keeping up? So yeah, great publication is d3wrestle.com. Andy Vogel down at Hiram College runs that one, but they do a great job putting the it's it's basically like the top 25 wrestlers. They go top 10 each weight class. Then there's like another 8 kids for contender and another 8 for honorable mention. So D3wrestle.com is a great way to see how your ODAC teams are doing. And then NWCAonline.com, they do a Division III ranking, and they also do a regional ranking. So for all the teams in the ODAC, our entire conference is a part of the Southeast region, and that is made up of the MAC conference, that's made of the ODAC and some other teams that are independents as well. But keeping up with that, there's a ranking that probably comes out once a month. I know in our conference right now, I want to say we got anywhere from 4 to 6 people ranked in that. We got a bunch of people ranked in the top 25 on D3wrestle.com as a conference. So expect that number to grow as the year goes. Like I said, Washington and Lee, really solid program. Roanoke's done a really good job. Ferrum, they got some really tough upper weights and a couple middle weights there. And, the last 3 teams, they definitely got a couple individuals, and they got some good freshmen there looking to do something on the national level.
We'll wrap things up kind of here with a coaching perspective. Obviously, we're bringing in a new sport. We've had a couple conference calls to kind of talk to you guys. I think we've got a really solid group of coaches in this league, guys that have experience in the coaching ranks, guys that were former All-Americans. I mean, Justin Hardy coming into Greensboro was a 4-time UNC All-American. I mean, Tim McGuire was a standout at Marquette. I mean, all you guys have both competing and coaching history. Talk a little bit about your counterparts here in the league and just how that's going to help continue it to grow with how good you guys are on the sidelines of the mats.
I think when you have coaches with solid resumes and with solid backgrounds that are doing the right things, it ups everyone's game. Not to promote all those guys too much, but it's like, Nate Yetzer, what he's doing at Roanoke is pretty cool to see happen. Logan Meister taking over a program that was established by someone else, and his guys in Pete Wilson last year was pretty special. And Logan Meister was Ferrum's first All-American. So it's like, when you look at that, you look at Justin Hardy and his national championship resume. Tim McGuire, like you said, at Marquette. SVU just brought in a guy who wrestled Division I. He's not from Utah Valley, now the head coach there. And one person that doesn't get enough credit over at Washington and Lee, Alex Radsky, the assistant for Nate Shear. He was an NCAA Division I national qualifier. So there's a lot of good coaching. You can't really go wrong with really any of the schools that you decide to pick from. And it's going to be competitive, because I'll tell you what, one school we may be at the top this year or last year, but we can't take it easy. We can't take it easy in recruiting, competing, anything, because there's a whole lot of coaches with a lot of who everybody wants to be the top dog in this conference. I can guarantee you that.
Well, Coach, we look forward to seeing you get out there on that quest to go ahead and be number 1 in the league and live up to that number 1 billing you have in the preseason poll. Everybody's got their work cut out for them, as the poll is pretty well stacked up, but opportunities were out there to compete starting on November 1. Everybody's kind of a little bit delayed. We're starting here this weekend with people going to various locations. So we look forward to seeing it, getting hopped right into it. Coach, thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and go Cougars.